Dachau, a medieval city located about 30 kilometers away from Munich. Well, I came here not for the medieval thing or churches and something like that, but I came here for a specific reason, which is to visit the concentration camp here in Dachau. I was once in Poland visiting another camp and once in Berlin, which is the satellite camp, or they call it a sub camp, about 30 kilometers away from Hamburg. As someone who is from Cambodia, we also face genocide in the 70s. I'm interested in seeing and learning about this kind of history. Join me as I'm right now going to visit the concentration camp of... Guys, I'd like to show you something here in Dachau. This is a garage. Look at this. They have a number. I'm not sure if these supposed to have key or something like this. And you kind of have this. And there are 2 stories. This is the upper floor. I've seen this with cars and mostly within companies. Maybe in the US or something like that. But now in Germany I see this with bicycles. There's a train station over there. This is what school looks like in Germany. I believe that this is a high school. Behind me there are students enjoying the classes as we normally do as a student. Did I enjoy school? Not really. I was not a good student, but I could beat most of the students in my class. I'm not a valedictorian, if you may say, but no. But hey, most of my valedictorian friends are somewhere still back home doing something. I'm here, single, mingle, and finding places to visit. The bank behind me, Sparkasse, and there is a drugstore. This is a very typical German city. Let's find out from where we can go from here. Well, today is not the weekend, but in such a small city there's nothing much going on besides elderly people, and mostly young people are out of this small city and they, once in a while they come back and whatnot. Mostly students and elderly people. So Germany has a problem with the aging population. Not just Germany, but also most countries in Europe. That's why they sort of have programs for people from different countries to come here and work. But they make it so difficult for those who are already in the country, like me. I live here, it's my own expenses. Being a student, it's hard to get a job. Being jobless is not easy. There's a stream here. Well, this is just from someone's backyard. What a nice day here to be in Dachau. Because Dachau is so close to Munich, it is quite often that I can see people from here going to Munich for Oktoberfest. Well, did you know what happened yesterday in Munich? It was crazy. I'm not sure when I'm gonna publish this video, but a day before this video is recorded, there was an event happening in Munich close to Oktoberfest. A guy who tried to commit suicide, and he wanted to related to bombing and stuff like that, which I'm not gonna go and talk on this video. Anyway, they were supposed, they closed the Oktoberfest for quite some times, and then they found out it was okay, and then they reopened it at 5:30 in the evening after the incident. So luckily nothing happened. Well, this is a typical housing in Germany. So here we are in Dachau concentration camp. This is the entrance, the memorial, and this is the whole plant that you can see. First off, it started with not a concentration camp, but it was a facility where they built machines. Well, the camp was built in 1933, and it ran until 1945, when the American troops liberated Germany. On March 22, 1933, a few weeks after Adolf Hitler had been appointed Reich Chancellor, a concentration camp for political prisoners was set up in Dachau. This camp served as a model for later concentration camps and as a school of violence. For the SS men under whose command it stood, in the 12 years of existence, over 200,000 persons from all over Europe were imprisoned here, and in numerous subsidiary camps. 41,500 were murdered. On April 29, 1945, American troops liberated the survivors. The memorial site on the grounds of the former concentration camp was established in 1965 on the initiative and in accordance with the plans of the surviving prisoners who had joined together to form the Comité International de Dachau. The Bavarian state government provided financial support. Between 1996 and 2003, a new exhibition on the history of Dachau concentration camp was created, following the leitmotif of the path of the prisoners. So I just left the Dachau concentration camp, and because camera was not permitted inside, well, just taking pictures is fine, but we cannot take GoPro inside, so that's why. It's kind of sad to see what was happening 80 years ago. There were some brutalities, a lot of brutalities happened to the victims of the prisoners here. There were about 188,000 inmates here, and there were not just the Jews, but also the Germans, the Poles, people from Soviet Union, Gypsies, and also Romas. As someone who is from Cambodia, that we also faced genocide back in the 70s. I think they sort of somehow played the same playbook in terms of the tortures and murdering the prisoners. There are places that they executed the prisoners by hanging them, put them in gas chambers, and a lot more. Which reminds me of S21 prison in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. They were electric shocked. The nails were pulled out if they did not answer the questions, or the answers were not what they wanted to know. So this is the case that happened in S21 Cambodia. But here, despite the fact that it happened 30 years later, so Dachau is one of the concentration camps all over Europe. There are hundreds of concentration camps in Europe. I've been to a few of them. One in Auschwitz, Poland, and the other one in Verbelin, which is a concentration camp that is a satellite camp of a concentration camp in Hamburg, and this one is Dachau. And I will show you some pictures that I captured from the buildings. And if you see, the halls are full of, memories and full of tragedies that we cannot fathom. We cannot even imagine what happened back then. There were prisoners that did not do anything wrong at all, like being gay was not permitted in that time. And I think in late 1990-ish that Germany allowed people to have a gay marriage, and prostitution was prohibited as well, and a lot of those people were sent to here. This is based on what I've heard from one of the guides says. And it's kind of sad to see the reality of human being, humanity, what we did to one another, one race to another. But this happened throughout the human history. Just to name a few, the Mongols did the same to other tribes. The European settlers did the same to the Native Americans. They did not just fight the people there, but they brought diseases that wiped out the civilization of the Native Americans. World War I, World War II, and right now, as you can see, but there's something that I cannot talk much on this channel. There's something that I cannot, we live in a society that, something telling the truth is not okay. So, that's it. I think I will also visit other concentration camps somewhere in Germany and maybe in Europe. I'll see you in the next one. I just left the concentration camp, and this is what it looks like somewhere in Dachau right now. It is very cold. That is why I have my coat on and walk around. Well, there's also a castle somewhere here, but I think it is already late to go to the castle. So I would just walk around the city and see what I can do. I just realized that I am on the outskirts of Dachau. This is something that you should never follow. I'm sorry. The guy behind me, I'm not sure if you can see, he just gave me cigarette. Well, I'm not gonna smoke it here, but hey, a German guy just gave me a cigarette. You know, there's a saying that less is more. Some people have nothing, but they have big heart. I don't know what was the intention of that guy. He said, I give you the cigarette and you can go and smoke. I was like, why? He was like, no, it's just a gift. I see you walk around and I want to give you. Like, he's just like a homeless person. I'm not sure, but yeah, he looks like so. And then he's like, do you want a lighter too? I was like, okay, thank you. And then he gave me that. But that was one of the greatest moments I have here. Well, I've never, yeah, that's one of the greatest moments I have out here. Well, I realized that there are not so many traffic lights here. Even though you are at the adjacent, you are at the crossroad, it doesn't matter. There's just no traffic light. There are, of course, in some few places, but most of the time I do not find that. This is the outskirts of Dachau. Well, it seems like there is a special promotion here from Teddy. What do they have? Well, it is October and they are preparing for Halloween. Is it Halloween? Halloween. And also at the same time they are preparing for Christmas. Look at that. This looks like a garage sale here in Dachau. It looks like this is an Asian center. Maybe I can get something to drink, to eat, maybe bubble tea, or maybe it's a sushi bar. Servus. What do they have here? Sushi. Look at this. Well. This is Honda. But we do not see any type of motor that are popular in Asia. They kind of have that kind of motors, but mostly in Asia we do not have this. I think we somehow have this type and a few of these and a few of those, but here some of these brands are not popular, and this is the first time I'm seeing Honda here. The trip to Dachau has now come to an end, and this is a tournament of soccer field. Okay, it's a soccer field, and I think these are high school students that are now playing for them. And I am going back to Munich with this bus.